WJLA diamonds at insane prices, plus over 50% savings on custom designs. Buy direct, the Jewelry Exchange Bethesda.
Good morning, America. This morning, ready for recovery. Rescue workers converge on hard-hit areas in Florida, demolished by Hurricane Michael. The search for victims in the rubble. The situation in some areas, desperate.
There's no gas, no food, no nothing.
Good Samaritans doing what they can.
You got any water?
We're on the ground with team coverage on this monumental effort to rebuild.
President Trump's warning, promising severe punishment if Saudi Arabia is found to be responsible in the disappearance of a Washington Post columnist, but stopping short of doing business.
I actually think we'd be punishing ourselves if we did that.
What Jamal Khashoggi's fiancée says about a possible meeting with the president.
New this morning, our new poll on the president's approval rating. The good news for the White House, but could Republicans be facing trouble in the upcoming midterms? We'll break down the numbers.
Model's murder mystery, shot in her car as she drove to work. The surveillance video that could hold clues about her killer.
And wild weather, the reported tornado in Texas that blew this door in and overturned vehicles, plus flash flooding in the west. The forecast for dangerous weather ahead.
Live from ABC News in New York, this is Good Morning America.
No wobble wobble from you this morning?
Not today. We'll see you in the candy segment maybe later.
Good morning. Dan has the morning off. We are glad to have Whit and Adrian here with us this morning. We begin with the search and recovery efforts in the Florida Panhandle and that massive task ahead to rebuild from Hurricane Michael.
Yeah, crews with search dogs combing through the debris, looking for any signs of life in the mangled piles where homes and buildings once stood. Governor Rick Scott and FEMA Director Brock Long touring the area today.
A number of roads are still blocked by massive trees, making it hard to reach people in communities that are cut off. But the spirit is still strong in Mexico Beach, where little is left. Good Samaritans doing what they can to help each other.
Here's what we know right now. At least 17 people are confirmed dead across the South. Power has been restored to more than 2 million customers impacted by this storm, but more than 600,000 people across 5 states remain in the dark.
And we have team coverage of Michael's aftermath. First, let's go to Rob Marciano in Callaway, Florida, which was severely damaged in the hurricane. Rob, good morning to you.
Hey, good morning to you. At day 4 now of Hurricane Michael aftermath, and I can tell you that both storm survivors and rescue crews are reaching some levels of desperation. Food and water is still tight. Secondary roads are still blocked, difficult to get around. And even though there are 17,000 utility crews in here, power is going to be very, very slow to get up and running. And of course, today still the high priority is the search for those that may be still alive.
This morning, rescue crews now have a symbol of inspiration.
There's departments from all over the country here. The flag is something we all wear in our uniforms. We all get up under it, we go to sleep under it, brings us together.
Firefighters taking a moment Saturday, wrapping whatever they can find with duct tape in order to raise an American flag from the rubble.
I got 2 inside on this building right now and 1 on the other side.
1,700 search and rescue personnel converging on the Florida Panhandle, working together in the hopes of finding storm victims still alive. And when needed, putting canine units to work.
Beautiful golden right there, but specially trained to look through this debris for victims of this hurricane.
This dog's trainer telling me that in the past, they found survivors up to 7 days after a disaster strikes.
So we go for a good week with hope.
We continue search.
The hope is the large number of residents that are considered missing will shrink.
We've had good memories for 30 years down here, and we're going to have more.
Sandra and Steve Wright's vacation home is completely destroyed.
Some of the best times I ever had was seeing my grandson out here this last summer and watch him catch his first fish.
I'm just so thankful that we have a home to go to, another home to go to.
A lot of these people don't.
And a lot of these people don't.
Like Kenny Day and his family, their home destroyed, now sheltering in Pensacola.
It's going to be rough for a while in Panama City. I don't know. I'm originally from Indiana, and a couple times I thought, well, I've got a little money in my pocket, I might as well head home.
The estimated loss from Michael's destruction now reaching $6 billion.
We came across a house fire here in Panama City Beach. Not sure of the cause, but it spread to the backyard, even into some of these trees.
A neighbor telling us the homeowners are out helping people. The husband repairing roofs, the wife working at a hospital.
They're unaware any of this is happening right now. There's no way to contact them, cell service out.
Much of it burned, but firefighters eventually able to snuff it out. At nearby Tyndall Air Force Base, devastated by Michael, we spoke with airmen on the Rideout team as the eye of the storm came overhead.
It was a tough situation, and we made it through it together.
Moment of silence, man. Think about what we're here for.
Back in Mexico Beach, there is solidarity of those still working the search for the missing.
They are holding strong here, both on the survivor side and the rescue worker side. One of the frustrating things about this is that we actually don't have a very accurate list of those that are missing, and the communications are pretty much completely down, especially down in Mexico Beach, so that makes it even more difficult. And the sad reality, Whit, is that at some point we have to turn this mission from one of rescue to one of recovery.
That's right. And Rob, you've been talking to so many of those survivors there and all those homes destroyed. How are the survivors, the people who lived through this storm, how are they faring now with just the basic supplies?
I mean, you're talking about thousands of people that survived this storm, and their homes are destroyed. Food and water has been difficult to find, but what we have seen is that businesses have jumped in, church groups have jumped in, volunteers, Good Samaritans have jumped in to help those that are in need. Will Carr is going to be up later in the program with that story, but I can tell you that the community, as it does in this situation typically, is rallying together. Whit.
Absolutely. Rob Marciano will check back in with you later on the show. It just goes to show, and adding insult to injury, the fact that communications are down. Family members still don't know where people are in the disaster zone.
It makes it so hard to figure out exactly what's happening down there when you can't even talk to people.
Exactly.
Yeah, the unknown.
Yeah. We'll check back in with Rob in just a few minutes, but we want to turn now to the intensifying efforts to find out what happened to a missing Washington Post columnist, Jamal Khashoggi, missing since his visit to the Saudi consulate in Istanbul.
President Trump meeting with Pastor Andrew Brunson, just freed by Turkey, taking questions on the situation at the White House. ABC's Ian Pannell is in Istanbul with more.
Yeah, good morning, Whit. This is the Saudi consulate in Istanbul, where Washington Post reporter Jamal Khashoggi went missing 12 days ago now. This morning, an escalating war of words between Washington and Saudi Arabia, which has just issued a statement saying it rejects any attempt by President Trump or anyone else to apply pressure for answers.
This morning, President Trump vowing to take action if he finds out the Saudi kingdom is involved in the mysterious disappearance of Washington Post journalist Jamal Khashoggi.
There are other things we can do that will be very severe.
But the president reluctant to threaten a major arms deal with the kingdom.
It's 450,000 jobs. It's the best equipment in the world. But if they don't buy it from us, they're going to buy it from Russia, or they're going to buy it from China, or they're going to buy it from other countries.
The Washington Post reporting Khashoggi is feared dead, last seen walking into the Saudi consulate October the 2nd. This mystery deepening when Turkish media reported that a squad of Saudis landed in Turkey on the day he vanished and checked into this hotel.
The 15 Saudis then mysteriously left the hotel, having only just checked in, got into a van and headed a few hundred yards down the road to the Saudi consulate. The team then parked up at the back of the consulate, allegedly lying in wait for Jamal Khashoggi, who went through the front door a few hours later and never emerged.
Two black vehicles later seen leaving the back entrance, while Khashoggi's fiancée waited outside. His fiancée, Hatice Cengiz, wrote an op-ed in the New York Times on his birthday Saturday saying, "The people who took him from us, irrespective of their political positions, must be held accountable and punished to the full extent of the law." According to the Washington Post, Turkish officials claim to have audio and video recordings of the journalist's murder inside the consulate.
Well, the White House saying it's now been in contact with the fiancée. She's saying she would be willing to meet with President Trump, but only if he's willing to make a genuine contribution to reveal what happened inside the Saudi consulate. Worth adding, the Saudis have emphatically denied any involvement in the disappearance or murder of Jamal Khashoggi. Meanwhile, the Turkish Foreign Ministry is saying a joint investigation is now underway, but the level of cooperation they're getting is less than they expect. Still more questions and answers this morning. Adrienne?
All right, thank you so much, Ian. And such a complicated story, really. Now to President Trump and an uptick in his approval rating. Our new ABC News Washington Post poll out this morning shows President Trump's numbers have improved, this coming as he turns his focus again to immigration, leaving the door open for a potential new child separation policy.
But that same poll showing Democrats gaining ground on that issue, 50% of people saying they would do a better job on immigration versus just 38% who think that Republicans would do a better job. ABC's White House correspondent Tara Palmieri joins us now live with more. Good morning, Tara.
Good morning. That's right. The president said on the White House lawn that the child separation policy works, that it deters illegal immigration, and he seemed to suggest that he hasn't given up on that policy.
Democrats want to abolish ICE, and they want to turn America into a giant sanctuary for criminal aliens.
Just weeks before the midterms, President Trump revealing he is not giving up on his zero-tolerance immigration policy.
We're looking at everything, Phil, that you can look at it when it comes to illegal immigration.
The Washington Post reporting that the Trump administration is now weighing a new version of it.
Well, I will say this. If they feel there will be separation, they don't come.
According to the Post, the president is considering a plan that gives parents who cross the border illegally two choices: stay in family detention with their children for months or years as their immigration case proceeds, or allow children to be taken to a government shelter so other relatives or guardians can seek custody.
We have the dumbest immigration laws in the world. The world laughs at us, but we're getting them changed. We need some more Republicans.
This comes after the Trump administration faced backlash for what some were calling a family separation policy. While the crackdown ended in June, hundreds of children remain in detention, shelters, or foster care. And U.S. officials say more than 200 are not eligible for reunification or release. The Department of Health and Human Services also releasing new video footage from inside a Texas detention center. Here, the center in Tornillo, Texas, housing 2,400 children seen playing, eating together, and bunking in close quarters. The two women in President Trump's life, Ivanka Trump and Melania Trump, say they are against the child separation policy. The First Lady told our Tom Yamas that she was blindsided by it and told her husband that it was unacceptable. Adrian?
All right, thank you so much, Tara. A lot to talk about in the world of politics. So let's bring in ABC News chief anchor George Stephanopoulos.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning to you. Good to have you with us as always. Let's start with the latest uptick in approval ratings for the president. A lot of people are talking about it. He has seen improvement. So what's fueling these numbers? And then the second part of the question is, how will voters' feelings, either positive or negative, affect their midterm vote?
Well, I think there's two things fueling the president's rise. One, the economy is doing very well. And secondly, I think he's really consolidated Republican support in the wake of that fight over Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh. I think that's really helped him unify Republicans and get them excited again. So we have seen an uptick. Now, 41%. Still not great. It's still in a danger zone for presidents going into midterm. Most presidents who have approval ratings that low going into the midterms lose seats in the midterm elections. But it is on the rise, and that's helped.
When you break down those numbers, there seems to be a real difference in opinion when you look at gender. Women are more disapproving of the president. They prefer Democratic House candidates. And overall, there seems to be more of a sense of urgency about this midterm with women. What's driving that, and how critical do you think the female vote is going to be?
Well, first of all, this gender gap is as high as we've ever seen in polling. We've been polling the gender gap going back to 1982. It's never been this high going into midterm election. It's something we've seen develop through the last campaign. Women are generally turned off. It's not so much policy, or not only policy, it's President Trump's character, temperament, the way he goes about his business. And of course, the Me Too movement is fueling it as well. We've seen a tremendous rise also in female candidates, particularly on the Democratic side. And this is, I think, going to be the key thing to watch in this election. If women come out in the kind of numbers we've seen them expressing in this poll right now, that is very good news for Democrats.
And George, immigration back in the headlines, the president talking about it, reports of a new possible policy. But another interesting piece of this poll, 50% of Americans saying that they trust Democrats to better handle immigration compared to 38% for Republicans. Is the president's zero tolerance policy, specifically the separation of families, impacting the GOP? And is that a negative impact?
Well, you know, it's a mixed impact. I mean, I think that our poll is right. I think generally voters prefer Democrats to Republicans on immigration. They generally reject President Trump's hardline policies, but the president's base loves them. And it's one of the things that gets them most excited, gets them most enthusiastic about going to the polls. So I think how it will actually impact the election, kind of a wash.
Let's talk about a move from platform to the disappearance of this Washington Post journalist, Jamal Khashoggi. Is this some type of diplomatic minefield for the president?
It certainly is. I mean, the president and his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, have really struck a strong alliance with the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, who, according to some reports, is behind the disappearance of Jamal Khashoggi. So far, we haven't heard anything from the Saudis but denials, but he has not emerged from the embassy. It's almost certain that he's dead. You've seen what the president has said right there. He wants to punish the Saudis, but he doesn't want to take away the arms sales. And what is he going to do? And is he willing to create a breach in that relationship? Big question for the president, a lot at stake.
All right, thank you so much.
And he said he would be willing to talk to them about this. When you talk to someone in this type of subject matter, how careful do you have to be with the language?
And do you just accept the denial? Right, for now, the president is simply accepting denials of the Saudis, saying they deny it, but he's also going to talk to the Crown Prince himself. Right now, on its face, the denial is not all that credible. And we have different information coming in from the Turks, from our own intelligence. The president is going to have to make a decision on this in the coming days.
And Congress appears to be taking some steps on their own
Very
as
hard
well.
line.
Yeah.
All right, thank you,
Thanks, guys.
George, good to see you.
And a reminder this morning, George has a big show. He will go one-on-one with White House National Economic Council Director Larry Kudlow about the state of the economy, plus Senators Jeff Flake and Bernie Sanders discuss the midterm elections and our new ABC News Washington Post poll numbers. That is all coming up on This Week right here on ABC.
Meantime, in some of the other headlines that we're following, the New York Times reporting that President Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, likely paid almost no income taxes between 2009 and 2016. Kushner, whose net worth is believed to be around $324 million, according to the report, used a tax code loophole for real estate investors to minimize what he owed. The report makes it clear that there was nothing illegal. A spokesman for Kushner says that he has paid all taxes due.
Search crews worked overnight in the waters off the shores of New York's Long Island after a small plane went down in the ocean about 3 miles from the airport in West Hampton Beach. The FAA reports 3 people were on board that flight that took off from Charleston, South Carolina. Sadly, 1 body has been recovered. 2 people are still missing.
New York Senator Chuck Schumer calling on the federal government to do more for limousine safety. The Senate's top Democrat saying the National Transportation Safety Board hasn't investigated 1 limousine crash in the past 3 years. The call comes 1 week after 20 people died when a stretch limousine ran a stop sign and crashed down a hill, killing all 18 people on board and 2 pedestrians in upstate New York.
All right, let's get back to Rob Marciano in Florida this morning. He's also watching some severe weather in other parts of the country. Rob, good morning once again.
Good morning, Wade. We talked yesterday about how this damage to me is like nothing I've ever seen. It feels more like an EF2 or EF3 tornado that's 20 or 30 miles wide. It's just incredible. As far as actual tornadoes go, you're right. We did have some yesterday, especially across the state of Texas. 7 reported tornadoes. We have video of at least one of them in Corsicana, Texas, near a Walmart parking lot. Doing a little bit of damage there, and another potential tornado in Texas that was spinning off near a high school. You see the roof flying off there. So also some some straight line winds there. We'll have another day of potentially severe weather across parts of Texas today as that front drive to the south. After that happens, it's going to get really cold in Texas. San Antonio, Austin, Dallas, you're in it. And then rain will continue to run over top of that. So we'll have severe threat and then the flooding threat as well, with 4+ inches of rain that will run right across the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex right on through Tuesday morning. So we're watching that. By the way, what's behind me, this is a Goodwill store. So just another piece of property that potentially could help people that is destroyed here in Panama City. That's check on what's happening here in the hurricane zone. It's time now for a look at your local weather forecast.
Good morning. I'm ABC 7's Steve Rudin. It's a chilly start to our early Sunday around the DMV. 50 downtown D.C. We're only in the middle 40s off toward the west of us. We will warm things up a little bit as we move through the mid-morning hours, but it's definitely a light jacket kind of morning. This afternoon, we've got a football game, and we're looking at temperatures that are going to be in the lower 60s. We are going to look at more clouds later in the afternoon, but it should stay dry for the football game, and then a bit warmer for the day tomorrow, lower 70s.
Sun just about to peek over the horizon here, and it should be another beautiful day here in the hurricane storm zone. So we have at least that little bit of positivity happening in what is one of the worst disasters to hit the United States. guys, back over to you.
All right, thanks, Rob. One thing that's clear, there's a long road to recovery.
Absolutely. Where do you even begin?
Yeah, definitely. In other headlines, newly released body camera video shows what happened when Bucks player Sterling Brown was arrested.